Welcome back, everyone. This episode's called Can You Hear Me Now? And we're dialing into a chaotic team meeting to unpack 11 essential expressions for surviving remote work in English. Let's jump right into the call. Imagine it's Monday morning. Your video call is just about to start, and your Wi-Fi has other plans. Let's listen in on Sarah, Jason, and Emma as their team meeting slowly falls apart, one glitch at a time.
Okay, team, let's get the ball rolling. Jason, can you start for us? Jason? We can see you, but we can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. My cat just stepped on the keyboard. Can everyone hear me now?
You're breaking up a bit. Your connection seems glitchy. Is anyone else having trouble hearing him?
He's lagging for me, too. Jason, you might want to turn off your video to save bandwidth.
Good idea. Let me just share my screen instead so we can go through the slides. Wait, why is my screen showing my vacation photos?
Those are definitely not the Q3 slides.
Oh, no. No, just give me 1 second.
Let's just circle back to the presentation later. Emma, can you fill us in on the marketing report while Jason fixes his tech issues?
Sorry, I'll drop off and rejoin in a minute.
Now let's break down the 11 key expressions listed right here on our index page, so you can master their real-world usage in any remote meeting. Sarah opens the meeting with, "Let's get the ball rolling." This idiom means to officially start something, especially once everyone's settled in and it's time to get down to business. The image comes straight from sports. Once the ball is actually moving, the game is underway, and there's no turning back. You'll hear this phrasing constantly in professional settings. A team lead might just as easily say, "Let's get the ball rolling on the new project," at the start of almost any meeting, presentation, or kickoff call. It works just as well outside the office, too. Like, once we signed the lease, things really got the ball rolling. A slightly more casual cousin worth knowing is kick things off, which means exactly the same thing and gets used interchangeably. Let's kick things off with a quick recap. If you want something a touch more formal for a written agenda, you could say, "Let's begin," or "Let's proceed," though honestly, almost nobody says those out loud in a real meeting. Get the ball rolling is what people actually reach for. Sarah tells Jason, "I think you're on mute." This phrase describes the state where your microphone is turned off, so no sound is getting through to anyone else on the call. It's the kind of thing almost everyone's had to admit at some point. "Sorry, I was on mute the whole time." Arguably the single most universal remote work mishap on the planet. The verb form is simply mute, which you can use directly and politely. "Can you mute yourself? There's an echo." And the opposite is unmute. Feel free to unmute and jump in. Outside of video calls, mute pops up in everyday tech too. You might mute notifications on your phone, or say something like, "I muted that group chat. It kept buzzing all day." And here's a fun bit of slang some coworkers use. If someone's rambling too long in a meeting, a colleague might joke in the chat, "Someone mute him," even though nobody would actually say that out loud. Sarah says, "You're breaking up a bit." This phrase describes a call or video where the audio keeps cutting in and out, making it hard to understand what someone's saying. You might hear someone say it mid-call, something like, "Sorry, you're breaking up. Can you say that again?" Notice it always takes the continuous form. "You're breaking up," not "you break up," because it's describing something happening right now, in real time. If you want to vary your vocabulary, you can also say, "The line is choppy," or "The call keeps cutting out," both of which paint the same picture of a connection that just won't hold steady. And here's a fun distinction worth remembering. Break up in a relationship context means something entirely different. Ending things with a partner, as in, they broke up after 3 years together. Context always makes the meaning clear. One more handy phrase along the same lines is, the connection is unstable, which sounds a bit more technical and works well in a formal email. Apologies, our connection was unstable during the call. Sarah continues, your connection seems glitchy. This adjective describes equipment, software, or a connection that keeps malfunctioning in small, unpredictable ways. Nothing catastrophic, just annoying little hiccups. Maybe your own Wi-Fi has done exactly this. My Wi-Fi has been really glitchy since this morning. Not completely broken, just unreliable in a way that's hard to pin down. The noun form, glitch, is incredibly versatile. You'll hear it applied to software, hardware, even plans. There's a small glitch in the system. Or even, there was a glitch in the schedule and 2 meetings got booked at once. Just don't confuse glitchy with broken. Something broken doesn't work at all, while something glitchy still mostly works. It just has hiccups along the way. There's also a great tech slang phrase worth knowing, buggy, which describes software specifically that has small errors or bugs in the code. As in, this app is still pretty buggy. It crashes randomly sometimes. Emma suggests, you might want to turn off your video to save bandwidth. This means reducing your internet usage so the connection runs more smoothly for everyone on the call. It's a pretty normal thing to say mid-call, something like, we turned off video to save bandwidth during the call. Turning off video is the classic fix, since video eats up far more data than audio alone. You'll actually hear the reverse phrasing too, like, video calls eat up a lot of bandwidth, which describes the exact same problem from the other direction. Beyond tech talk, bandwidth has also become a popular metaphor in the modern workplace for a person's available time and energy. For example, sorry, I don't have the bandwidth to take on another project right now. You'll hear this word everywhere in office life these days. It's become one of those go-to phrases everyone reaches for. Jason suggests, let me just share my screen instead. This is the standard action phrase for showing your display to everyone else on a video call, whether it's a slide deck, a document, or your browser window. You'd hear it the moment someone starts presenting. Something like, can everyone see my screen now? The polite way to confirm before you start, since nothing's more awkward than presenting into silence for 2 full minutes before someone finally speaks up. And once you're done, the natural way to wrap up is, I'll stop sharing now, which cleanly signals that you're handing control of the conversation back to the group. These 2 bookend phrases will make you sound completely fluent in any virtual meeting. And if you're the one asking someone else to present, you might say, do you mind sharing your screen so we can all follow along? A polite, natural way to hand the floor over. Once they're sharing, if things go wrong mid-presentation, you can just as easily follow up with, can you scroll down a bit? A small, handy phrase for exactly that moment. Jason mentions he wants to go through the slides. This phrase means presenting or reviewing content page by page in a structured way rather than jumping around randomly. It comes up anytime a meeting turns into a walkthrough, as in, let's go through the slides one by one. The classic phrase for walking a group through a presentation from start to finish. The core verb, go through, is actually much bigger than just slides. It can apply to any material you review carefully. For instance, can we go through the numbers before the meeting? If you want a slightly more casual synonym, walkthrough works the same way and often sounds a bit friendlier. Let me walk you through the new process. And when a meeting is running short on time, you might hear someone suggest skipping ahead with, let's just go through the highlights instead of every single slide. Sarah decides, let's just circle back to the presentation later. This is one of the most common phrases you'll hear in any office. It means to postpone a topic and return to it at a later, unspecified time. You'd hear it the moment a meeting runs long, something like, "Let's circle back to this point after lunch." There are a couple of close cousins worth knowing. "Let's table this," and "Let's park this for now." Both mean putting a discussion on hold, and you can use either one interchangeably depending on your audience. Table this is more common in American English, while park this leans slightly more British. One word of caution, though. Circle back gets so overused in corporate culture that it often just means, "I'll mention this and probably never bring it up again." Used too often, it can come across as insincere, or even become a running office joke. Some coworkers will actually roll their eyes if you say it in every single meeting. If you want to sound genuinely committed to following up, it often lands better to be specific. Let's revisit this on Thursday's call, which shows you actually have a plan, rather than just circling back into the void. Sarah turns to Emma and asks, "Can you fill us in on the marketing report?" This phrase means giving someone the information they're missing, usually about something that happened while they weren't around. Say you just stepped out for a bit. You might come back and ask, "Can you fill me in on what happened while I was out?" It works just as naturally for someone joining a project late, as in, new hires usually need someone to fill them in on the team's current priorities. A very close synonym is catch someone up, which works the exact same way. Let me catch you up on what we discussed. Both phrases are extremely common in office life, and you'll often hear them combined into one smooth sentence, like, "I'll fill you in and catch you up on everything after this call." If you only need the short version, informally you can also just say, "What did I miss?" A perfectly natural way to ask the same thing when you're the one who stepped away. Sarah wraps up her instruction with, "while Jason fixes his tech issues." This is a catch-all noun phrase for any kind of problem involving devices, software, or connections. Flexible enough to cover pretty much anything that goes wrong. It's the kind of line you'd use apologizing for a late start. Something like, "Sorry for the delay, we were having some tech issues." For a slightly more formal version, you'll often hear technical difficulties, especially in broadcasts or official announcements. "We are currently experiencing technical difficulties." Both phrases are handy precisely because they're vague. You don't have to explain exactly what went wrong, whether it was your Wi-Fi, your laptop, or the meeting software itself. If you want to be a bit more specific about the cause, you might hear people narrow it down further, like, "It's just a software issue, nothing wrong with the hardware." And here's another handy way to say your device is being difficult: acting up, as in, "My laptop's acting up again." Jason ends the meeting with, "I'll drop off and rejoin in a minute." This phrasal verb means to lose connection or leave a call, whether on purpose or by accident. It happens to the best of us. Maybe your call has done exactly this. "My call dropped off in the middle of the meeting." A slightly more neutral synonym is get disconnected. "I got disconnected for a second." And once you've dropped off, the natural next step is to rejoin the call, exactly what Jason promises to do. "I'll rejoin the call in a minute." Interestingly, drop off has a completely different everyday meaning outside of calls. It can mean to deliver something somewhere, as in, "I'll drop off the documents at your desk," or even to fall asleep, like, "He dropped off in front of the TV." Context makes the meaning obvious every time, but it's a nice reminder that English phrasal verbs love to multitask. All right, let's do a quick recap. Number 1, get the ball rolling, to officially start a meeting or project. Number 2, on mute, when your microphone is turned off. Number 3, breaking up, when a call's audio keeps cutting in and out. Number 4, glitchy, describing something unreliable with small recurring problems. Number 5, save bandwidth, reducing internet usage for a smoother connection. Number 6, share my screen, showing your display to everyone on the call. Number 7, go through the slides, presenting or reviewing content page by page. Number 8, circle back to, postponing a topic to revisit it later. Number 9, fill someone in on, updating someone on information they missed. Number 10, tech issues, any kind of device, software, or connection problem. And number 11, drop off, losing connection or leaving a call. Now let's go back to the very beginning and listen to the whole conversation one more time, start to finish. This time, every single one of our 11 expressions is highlighted, so you can hear exactly where each one lives inside the story.
Okay, team, let's get the ball rolling. Jason, can you start for us? Jason? We can see you, but we can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. My cat just stepped on the keyboard. Can everyone hear me now?
You're breaking up a bit. Your connection seems glitchy. Is anyone else having trouble hearing him?
He's lagging for me, too. Jason, you might want to turn off your video to save bandwidth.
Good idea. Let me just share my screen instead so we can go through the slides. Wait, why is my screen showing my vacation photos?
Those are definitely not the Q3 slides.
Oh no. No, just give me 1 second.
Let's just circle back to the presentation later. Emma, can you fill us in on the marketing report while Jason fixes his tech issues?
Sorry, I'll drop off and rejoin in a minute.
If you liked today's episode, give this video a like. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you in the next episode of Daily Dialogues. Thanks so much for listening, and happy practicing.